So, hello, I'm Rupert Turton. Welcome to the Business Spotlight interviews, where we talk to local business owners about their journey. This week, I'm joined by Jonny Baker from Farm and Garden. Welcome, Jonny.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, and yourself?
All fair to middling, thank you.
So let's dive straight in, shall we? So first of all, just explain what you do, how long you've been doing it for, how you got into it.
We're hard and soft landscaping. So mowing and paving and planting trees, hedges, whatever. And we've been going as a limited company since 2002.
Okay. How did you get into it in the first place?
Well, I'm a farmer's son, and I moved up from South Leicestershire when I met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for several farmers in the area, etc. And I thought, I don't know, there's something missing somewhere. I also did a couple of years on diggers for a chap at Edith Weston, and somebody said, well, what about landscaping? So I thought, okay. So I gave it a go, and here we are.
Okay, cool. So what's your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Being diplomatic.
Yes, please. No bad language.
Yes, it's dealing with the public. It was all new to me. I mean, the farm was half a mile from the nearest village, so we didn't have to interact with anybody other than our own ilk.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to people about something that you come up with ways of talking to people. For example, you don't say, well, all that rubbish in the corner of your garden will be removed. It's the confusion in the corner of the garden will be taken away.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You just learn to talk to the client.
Yeah. How did you learn to do that
then? I'm not getting jobs, so I had to learn a different way of talking to people.
Sort of forced into sorting it out as quickly as you could. Yeah. Cool. So what are you finding are the biggest challenges running a landscaping business?
Biggest challenges are the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure things go on time so that you're not left out of pocket to keep the things going, and getting materials on site at the right time, and staff making sure they're all happy and they're all healthy, and just to keep the job going. Yeah, they're the biggest problems.
Yeah. Okay.
But saying that, in the last 2 years, price changes as well, because prices have just been fluctuating, or well, not fluctuating, but just going up steadily. And so therefore, I haven't done a quotation for probably 3 years now. It's all estimates, because I'll leave the caveat there that something may have to go up in price, and therefore it may have to cost the customer another 20 quid or whatever.
All right. So it's the so at the point they start work, your clients generally don't know what the finished product's going to cost.
Well, I can, if they request, if that some customers request a new estimate or price, I won't say anything if I think I can bring it in at the same price, whether I lose 20 quid on my profit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'll endeavour to do that to keep the customer happy. So yes, I haven't. There's only 2 areas in the last 2 years I've had to raise prices and tell the customer it was only, I think one was £750 more, and one was, I don't know, something like 1,500 quid more.
You're saying this is it's not just a short-term thing. This has been a long-term thing over the past, what you said, 2 or 3 years. So what's driving the price increases?
Well, containers, shipping containers were the biggest thing with Indian stone. A shipping container used to cost approximately $1,000 to bring all this Indian stone in crates to this country. Shipping containers then went up to somewhere in the region of $20,000.
Woo. Yep. Okay.
So some companies could get them cheaper, so therefore they put the prices up to cover the container costs. Some companies didn't even import Indian stone.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. Indian stone, for example, 20.7 square meters, 2.5 years ago was £360 for 20.7 square meters. It's now £700.
So that's more than doubling in price, isn't it? Yeah,
Plus your
yeah,
VAT.
yeah, yeah. So actually, whatever you do, there's not much. There's no way you're going to absorb that.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So the challenge in your business is the cost of raw materials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's the market like at the moment then? Are there a lot of people looking to have landscaping done on their gardens?
Well, usually by this time in January, I've probably looked at about 6 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Moment, I've looked at 3.
Oh, okay.
So it's, yeah, I think people are being a little bit tentative, especially with the fuel costs, etc.
Yeah.
I think they're still wondering where that's going, and they're doing the best talk us into a recession. I think they're wondering where that's going.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think people are just holding off a little bit at the moment.
And how do you normally get your business? What do you have a marketing plan, or what's the normal route to identifying your clients? How do they find you?
What's a marketing plan?
Okay. Yeah.
We're a member of the Association of Professional Landscapers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on their website. We're on the Trustmark website, Marshall's Paving website, Bradstone website, a company called Who's, which I never signed up to, but I seem to get inquiries off there. So we're on 5 or 6 websites.
Yeah.
That and our own website, which is just basically for the telephone number and email address. And that's basically where we get our work from, along with recommendations from people who've done work for.
Yeah. You've got a reasonable sized team as well, haven't you, Johnny?
I've got 4 chaps. 2 are permanently mowing and 2 hard landscaping.
Yeah. So there's a fair amount going on in your business in any case.
Yeah.
What do you think are the biggest opportunities for landscaping in the next 5 years?
Honestly, do not know. We were talking about this morning with the lads. For example, 10 or 12 years ago, everybody wanted a pergola in their garden, a timber pergola or a rose arch. And we were building those probably 2 a month. Then it was block paving. And now, I mean, last year we did very little fencing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just odd how it goes in, and I don't know what the next thing is. I really don't. Porcelain paving is still quite the big thing. Whether that's going to take over from your Indian stone and your block paving in people's back gardens, I don't know. But it all depends on, of course, the building, how it looks. So if you want something contemporary, you go porcelain. But yeah, I honestly don't know what's happening with it.
Okay. So changing tack slightly then, what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business for themselves?
I'd look at what you want to do, and I wouldn't borrow a lot of money to do it. I mean, I started with a spade, a shovel, and a wheelbarrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I started with. And I've never borrowed any money to grow the business. I have vehicles on lease and I've had vehicles on HP, but I don't borrow money to, for argument's sake, 10 grand behind me to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you get. I've never taken any advice off anybody as such. I've just sort of had an inkling that this is the way we want to go. This is how we do it, and work on that. And I don't know. We're reasonably successful, but I'd say to anybody, have a go, but you've got to be very careful on your spending, because a lot of people chuck a lot of money or borrow a lot of money, and then the pressure's there to put your business plan into operation, and then they've got to work with it, and often they don't and can't.
Yeah. Anything else you'd recommend people to do when they're starting their own business?
You've got to get your advertising right. I mean, I've spent a lot of money on advertising with everybody who rings you up and says, "Oh, we've got this glossy magazine. Oh, yes, it'd be lovely." No. These other things, TVs in post offices and that. No. Don't bother. Just go local. Your local Village magazine for a start. That's a good place to start. Local newspaper, yellow pages, because believe it or not, people still look at the yellow pages.
Yeah.
And a small website. You can make yourself a small website very easily and cheaply.
So actually, I think what I'm hearing is find the marketing strategy or the marketing strategies that work for you and your business. Don't think you have to do everything.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Slightly off the wall question for you. This should make you think a little bit. Who's the first person that comes to mind when you think about success?
Well, I was thinking about that when you put that possible note on an email. There's probably three. My grandpa on my mum's side, born in 1908, was a pioneer of Speedway. He was one of the first. His name was Squid Burton. He was one of the first. He was one of the captains of the first ever English Speedway team to Australia and New Zealand. My mum tells a story. When she was a little girl at the beginning of the war, a dapper little RAF officer walked into his engineering garage in Lutworth in South Leicestershire and showed him some blueprints and said, "Can you make that?" "Yeah, I can make that." It was the exhaust manifold for the first jet engine. That chap was Frank Whittle.
Wow.
So that's success on that part. He also went on to be the manager and promoter of Hunter Speedway, Leicester Hunters Speedway in Leicester. He still, well, he had the first ever lap record at Donington Park.
Yep.
And at the museum, he was a big poster of he and Valentino Rossi on the side of the museum that was. So yes, very proud, very successful. If you then go to a friend of mine, he and his business partner used to run a catering business with a turnover of 360 million a year when he sold it. So, I mean, that's success in monetary terms.
Yeah.
And then a chap that I know who is a alcoholic. He hasn't drunk for 7 years, turned his life around, married, and he is absolutely brilliant at what he does. And that's success again.
Yeah. And actually, what's really interesting there, Jonny, is you've got three different types of success, haven't you? You've got your grandfather, who achieved a tremendous amount in his lifetime, quite spectacular, actually, from what you've just described. Secondly, you've got the catering friend who made millions, 360 million. That's an achievement. That's set him up for life.
Yeah.
And then finally, you've got the alcoholic friend who actually has realised there's something wrong with his life, completely turned it around. Three very different definitions of success you've got there as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Would you say there's a common thread that runs through all three of them?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I mean, there'd probably be two of them with a common thread, but the other one not.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the common thread for the two?
Well, my grandpa and my friend with the catering business, wanting to succeed, they were driven, etc. Whereas the other one, I don't know. I think he just realised, and then he found a purpose. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the purpose came a bit later, and probably didn't realise it was a purpose.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, actually. I think you've actually just put your finger on it for all three, haven't you? It's actually having a purpose.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it.
Cool. Marvellous. So, Jonny, just before we finish, are there any offers or services that you'd like to mention, either in the newsletter or in any of the postings that we're doing?
I haven't got any offers because we we work to quite close budgets as it is.
Yeah.
But if somebody's in need, I will try and help.
Yeah.
And if someone's got a problem, I will try and help. As for everything else, no, not really. I just think, what I will say is, if somebody's out there, I'm a careers advisor for Catmus College in Oakham. What we desperately need is people to realise and wake up that you don't need a degree to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for people to go back to apprenticeships and other work arrangements rather than getting a degree, because it's not for everybody. And this is what we're trying to strive to get, to show people that they can go a different way rather than having to go to university to get a degree to do a job.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's excellent. Great way to finish as well. Jonny, thanks for your time today. Jonny Baker from Farm and Garden Limited on the Business Spotlight interview.
Well, thank you very much.